Hi guys, today's video is on expressions and formulas 1-1. What you're going to learn today is a little bit about order of operations, or review order of operations. But first we need to write down two things we already know about expressions and formula. So expressions, you know, don't have the equal to sign. On the other hand, formulas have the equal to sign, like equations. Okay? Reviewing a little bit of vocabulary before we get to examples. Look at this expression and think about four grouping symbols you see. There is the radical sign, which is the square root sign. There is also the fraction bar. That counts as grouping. There is also the big parenthesis. And there is also the smaller parenthesis. All count as grouping. So lots of grouping in that problem. For some new vocabulary, or probably old for you guys, let's write the correct term besides the definition. So letters used to represent unknown quantities are called variables. We usually use X, Y, A, B. Next, expressions that contain at least one variable are called algebraic expressions. Next one, a mathematical sentence that expresses the relationship between certain quantities. That is a formula. And lastly, a set of rules which outline the order in which calculations must be performed in a mathematical expression. I like to call that the order of operations, or PEMDAS. Where P stands for parentheses or any type of grouping. Instead of P, you can actually write G for GEMDAS. G stands for all these types of grouping symbols. You can even include absolute value in that grouping symbol. E stands for exponents. M, multiplication, D, division. You do this left to right. And addition, subtraction, you also go left to right as well. Let's talk about the next section, vocabulary link. So a good real life example is of order of operations is putting on socks then shoes. Because you have to do one before the other. No one really puts on shoes then socks. There's a specific set of rules and guidelines that you follow in that. Another situation that you could think of is turning on the oven before you bake something. You can't bake and then turn on the oven. So think about another example you can think of where you need a process to follow one before the other. Let's go on to the next page. What we have to do here is take the expression, because it doesn't have an equal sign, 3x minus 4 parenthesis y plus 2 parenthesis squared, when x is -2 and y is 3. This is called evaluating expressions, when you're substituting in a number for a variable. So when we begin, what we're going to do is, instead of writing the variable in parentheses, we are going to write the number and have a double parenthesis here, plus 2, another parenthesis squared. The first step is to focus on grouping. I see grouping here. This is my only set of grouping. If you thought grouping was here, you are wrong, because that is just multiplication. Grouping needs more than one number together in order for it to count as grouping. So let's do the 3 plus 2. And so the parentheses comes out to be 5. Next step is to do exponents. See exponents here. Some people want to do 4 times 5 and then squared. Just do 5 squared. This quantity right here first. 3 parenthesis negative 2 minus 4 parenthesis 25. Next, we're going to do multiplication division, but we're going to do left to right. So we're going to do this first, and then this multiplication after. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And then we have minus 4 times 25, which is 100. And then we do addition, subtraction. Last, left to right, negative 6 minus 100 is negative 106. Write down what questions you had, or if you got something different than I did, we can go over tomorrow in class. Now let's talk about formulas. So we're going to calculate the amount of medicine to give an 8-year-old child if the adult dosage is 1,500 milligrams. We're going to use the formula D equals 0.08 A times D. You know it's a formula because of the equal sign, where D is the child's dosage and A is the child's age, and capital D is the adult dosage. Think about how you would solve for this problem. To solve for D, you are simply going to substitute in A, which is the child's age, parenthesis, child is 8 years old, and then capital D is the adult dosage. They gave us 1,500. You can use your calculator on this. 0.08 times 8 times 1,500 would give you lowercase d to be 960. And it's measured, did it give a measurement? Nope, it just says D is the child's dosage. You could put it probably in milligrams. That's what I'm guessing. The dosage is put in. Lastly, think of a phrase to help you remember, either PEMDAS or GEMDAS. So you can use PEMDAS or GEMDAS. Think of an acronym. Probably the most popular one for PEMDAS is please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Trying to be creative with this, see what you could get. I know there's some really funny ones out there. Write down what questions you have on this topic and see everybody next time.